Hello, hello. I think we are live. We get everything set. Okay. Oh, yes. Oh, that's not good. Hey, LaFrance, how you doing? All right, now I'm trying to zoom out just a little bit, and it won't let me. Okay, I'll just do this. Okay, so today is our, let me know if you can hear me here. Today is the first Sunday of a new month, February. Can we believe we're in February already? And that is our Zentangle Day. Yes, believe it or not, that is our Zentangle Day. So that is what we're going to be doing. But last Sunday, I just did not go live. And I apologize for not making that announcement, but I'm going to show you what I did do during that time real quick. Uh, Good morning, Mona. I hope that's right. Um, Show you what I did work on real quick. I'm just going to adjust this just a little bit just to come out just a little bit higher. There we go. So they can get in frame a little bit. So sorry for the shaking. But this is the first thing that I did. I actually worked on, excuse me, a scrapbook album. All right, very simple. I used pattern paper, 3 different sets from Paper Rose, and just had fun with it, creating those interactive pages. This is the Rainbow Twirl set, Rainbow Twirl 2.0, and then the Rainbow Poppies. So just a lot of interaction when it comes to the pages, space for photos, um, using our panels for our closures, and stuff like that. And then we have a waterfall on this side with a pocket. You know, just all kinds of fun stuff. I had a good time. Kept me busy, basically, because we were getting a snowstorm for that. So this just kept me busy. So that's the first thing that I did. And then the next thing, and I'm going to have a full flip through on this one because of its size. This one here, I started the Creep on June in 2025, and this is actually the album for all the games. So I'll have a full flip through video during this week, just showcasing that. And now I'm going to zoom you back down because now we're going to start tangling. And I think that's going to be close. This is something else that I did, talking about tangling, or Zentangling. Still keeping with the theme in our Zentangle community and honoring Tripoli. And just having Tripoli coming out. This is a tangle called Marasu. And just having the rainbow of the Tripoli coming out, having the large ones, and then just having these smaller reticulas, triangles, just coming in around that as well. And then lots of print top just coming into the background. And then lots of shading. I did use my chalk pastels along with mixing in the graphite for the smaller ones just to do that. So had a lot of fun. This is a 10.5 by 10.5 inch tile by Zentangle. It's the Opus tile. And as you can see, finished it up on the 25th. So, as I said, today it is the first Sunday of the month, so we are going to tangle, and we're just going to have some fun with some of our patterns. Biddy, good morning. How are you? And now I'm just going to see. Now, in our first Sunday that we did, I took one of my albums and just call it Tangle Sundays. Hello, Vicky. Good morning. And then this is where we're going to house all of the projects that we did. I love to create these albums because it tells a story as you go when it comes to that. So this is when we use that apostat. And again, anything is possible one stroke at a time. That's what that tangle is by Zentangle. And then we did our gem, showed you how you can color and shade a gem, give it a highlight using colored pencils. And then we just added things around that. This is called a Sunday Tangle stamp. So you all had talked, okay, that one needs to become a stamp in part of the collection, so stay tuned for that. And then we had fun tangling with a white gel pen. Because again, you can use anything that you already have to tangle. We don't need special materials. We don't need different materials. Ballpoint pen, copy paper is all we need. All right. All right, so let's grab a tile. Let's warm up, because I do like to warm up. I'm going to grab one of my Phi Tiles, and I'm going to have fun. There's a recent tangle that just came out, or came out recently, a few months ago. So I'm going to do that. Just clearing off my space here. And let me switch my glasses so that I can see as I'm tangling. Good morning, Linda. How are you? All right, so let's grab, I'm going to grab my normal 01 black micron. And the tangle we're going to start with here is called Trikl. Trikl. I can put that on a post-it if I can find, oh, there it is. That's not how you spell it. Oh, we're starting off great. That is Trikl, and it is by Zentangle. All right. So Trikl is a very interesting tangle. I think it can take many movements, many different styles. Starts with an arc, and then we have these points that radiate. And they don't take too much of a curve or anything like that. We can make them smaller as it comes up. This we're going to go off the page. All right, so it looks like a twig. All right, let's see if I can. You know, I used to, and I know I'm sitting at a different spot. There we go. Only because it's more comfortable. All right, now you're zoomed in. Hello. All right, and then we do some auraing. And we create this little tiny curve. And then we come down below. And we do that to each one. Good morning, Gwen. And then we do the same thing on the other side. And this one, since it's going off the page, we're just going to envision that going off. Then we're going to take our lines, and I'm going to have this just come down just a little bit more. And we're going to come in a little bit on each side. And for here, we come down into the point. And then we go into like the center. And you can add a little curve, you can keep it straight however you would want. Here we just come up from the center and meet. And then again, we do the same thing on the other side. Just like that. Then we're going to add this other component. So we're going to come from this corner here and just come up, down from the bottom. And you can see you're kind of closing off that little loop. And you can make this stroke as dramatic or as soft, what you want. And that pretty much is Trikl. Now, what's great with Trikl is we can just have fun adding interest to it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add a curly Q to the top. And then I'm going to grab my brown 01. That's the fun of working on a tan tile. You can pull in the brown, I'll be able to pull in the white chalk, and just have fun with adding these elements to this. Before I add the brown, I do want to add some weight. And that's just where we thicken or make wider a section of our line. Or you can call it rounding. It helps emphasize when we go to shade it. And just adding, and again, it's an enhancer, so to speak. So now it just looks like it's coming down into itself. Good morning, Anthony. All right, now we'll switch over to our brown. So I'm going to focus on this one real quick because I can see what I'm doing here. And we can just add these bands, and I'm going to do it onto this side as well. Notice, we turn our tile. And we can add, I believe this is called snail. And then we can do it to the other side. And we can pick up our black pen again and add a diamond shape. And then ink that in. So you don't necessarily need to have, you know, chalk pastels to add interest to your piece. You can just change the color of your inks to add interest into that. And again, they can be ballpoint pens. And again, when you get to the end, just envision what these strokes are doing. It doesn't have to look perfect. Just continue the pattern. You can do different patterns in each of the sections. You don't have to do the same. There's times where I'll do different patterns, but there's also times where I do like the symmetry, depending upon what that pattern is. So now we'll real quick add those diamonds. And even in Zentangle, we can do things in a production style. You know, once you know what your one section is, then you can just do those things in each of the sections. And now I'll just finish it up with the brown. So that's our Trikl so far. Biddy, the FYIC is basically the fragment series that ran for January, that you'll see. I forget what they completely call it. All right, I think I'm going to stick with the brown for right now. No, I'm going to switch back to my black. I'm going to have Sand Swirl come out. And Sand Swirl starts with a Fescu. And then you aura that Fescu. And you can choose the number of times or how wide you want your aura to be. But this can be like the background. And then I'm going to do one over here. And again, remember to do your drawing behind. Then when you get to the edge of the tile, just let it continue off. So we have those. Do one more here. And you can put as many as you want. And then I think I'm just going to put one more up here. And again, I encourage you, so we have Trikl, and I'm sorry, I forgot to write Sand Swirl. So these are names that you can use to do a search on the tanglepatterns.com. And you'll be able to see the step outs and variations on how they do their tangles. Good morning, Shay. How are you? And again, I'll leave that website listed down below again. And then I think there's another tangle I'm going to add in here. Just got to remember what it's called. I see it. I see it. It's like a, let's see here. You find it in my trusty list. And I found it. So it's called Quabog. Well, at least I think it's called that. I'm sure I spell these wrong. That's a G. Oops. That's a G. And I'll have these listed down below as well. All right. And then I'm going to switch over to the brown. And these are also going to come out. It comes out. And then there's like this little thing on the top. They look like you all know what I'm thinking of. I forget what they look like. But you know. You know. And I'm just going to put these every so often, wrapping around. I know I've done Mooka before. We don't need to add more Mooka. But these are just fun little tiny things that come out and about. Again, draw behind. And by crossing over, you create and give that sense of Vertigo or Halaba, which are two tangles. You can take different shapes, but you're just R-ing. And this, I'll just have that one going off to give the illusion that it's there. And then we can add and wrap around some fescues. Because why not? And the fescues can either go ahead or behind. You can choose which way they go. And there you go. That warmed us up. And all right, now let's shade. And I am going to pull in both the graphite and the white chalk. I'm going to start with the graphite first. Remember, we don't have to be precise with this. Just want to get it down. Let's see where that takes us. Again, we don't need perfect blends. We are just pushing the graphite into the paper. It's not like we're doing a blend on colored pencils or anything like that. I think I'm just going to add that down to the bottom as well. I do add my graphite in stages to say, okay, this is, yeah, I want to add that here, or no, I don't want to put that there, especially if I am using multiple colors. And now when I come into the white, we're going to put that on this edge here. This will act as our highlight. The tan papers very much grab the white chalk. And again, you're just doing the same thing. You're just pushing the chalk into the paper. We're not going for that perfect blend. We just want to blend it. And then you can put a little bit just at the base of Quabog. And that just highlights those a little bit. And I forgot a spot. And there you go. Oh, thank you, Linda. Hey, Story, how are you doing? So again, if you don't, let me sign this. We got to add our chop. You don't have to have. I know I changed my chop again. I like hiding it too. Sometimes tanglers, we spend more time on our chop There we go. On the tile itself. And today is the 1st. And again, we used Trikl, Swirl, Fescu, and Quabog. And again, tanglepatterns.com, and you'll be able to search for those to get those step outs. All right, now we've warmed up. And you can, so like I was saying, you can use cardstock. You may not get the type of blending out, but you can do it with your pencil and your Q-tip and all of that. If you're looking for toned papers, Strathmore has a toned gray, a toned blue, and a toned tan, and they have a black and a white, very reasonably priced. So again, you don't have to go directly, but these will start being available, just so you know, in my shop coming soon. Got to work all of that out. So these will be available. Unfortunately, yes, I am only shipping in the United States. But again, you can reach out. I can tell you what it would be. It would be your decision. All right, so there you go. That's our first one. All right, let's do another one. And I'm keeping my list of all of my tangles that we're using because we must. We must, we must. All right, let's, now that we've warmed up, I'm going to work on a round one, a round tile. This is called a Zendala. This is my favorite tile. It's a tie with this one and the Opus, which is the 10.5. Just like the shape of it. This is, and if you have your own supplies, this is a 4.5-inch diameter from side to side circle. So if you've got a die and you have circle dies, you can cut this out yourself if you want. This one's actually the new shade. I wanted to try it out, and yeah, I really like it. I really like it, Gwen. Zentangle's in the process of changing their shade of the tan. They call it the Renaissance tile. It's a beautiful color. It's a little richer than what the previous color was. I mean, I like them both. But this one has a little bit more oomph to it, a little more drama, or being more dramatic, regal. All right, so I had shown that tile. I started a little bit earlier than normal. So this is the tile that I was kind of working on. This is a 10.5 by 10.5. I can't zoom out tile in honor of Tripoli. Still, because this is the tangle of the year, you know, just looking at all the different Tripoli as, while it's a tangle, it's also a reticula that holds a fragment when it comes to this. So just having that explosion to celebrate that tangle this year with Zentangle, and then down here is Marasu. And that's just like a coil that they're all coming out of. So it looks like a tube. All right. So let's work with Marasu. on this. We're going to do a smaller version of it. And I think Marasu. It's by Zentangle. And I'm going to go right to the pen. I'm going to use my black. Ouch. All right. So it starts out, it's like a print Tom's, but wider. So I'm going to start down here. And I want it to get wider. As we go. It's going to go off my tile. And I'm actually going to coil her back up. I'm going to tuck it back in. All right. And then we just connect. So what I like to do is I like to create the band with the highlight, and I'll show you what I mean, and then aura next to that. So I'm going to put a band here, and then I'm going to have another band. And then we'll create another aura, just a little bit wider, and then we will aura that. But I'm also going to ink this in so that I know where I'm at. And the highlight is I just leave a spot in between. That creates our own highlight. It's called a sparkle. And remember, guys, if you have a question, make sure put it in caps. It's 17 degrees down there, Cordelia. Oh my goodness. And this one we do turn the tile. So then I'm going to come away from this one. And I'm going to do another double aura. And then another one a little bit away. And then another double aura. Now here, I'm just going to put a line. Because then I know I'm coloring that one in. Or inking. And then I just keep turning. Do the double. Space. Double. A little mark. Turn. And you don't worry about what you did prior. And I say that because I used to. Because I'd be like, oh no, they're lining up. Don't worry about it. Let it go. Let it go. And you can see now that we're coming out of this tight spin, these auras are now going next to each other. Again, just with each stroke, you create the illusion. And then along with the shading, that's when it all comes to life. But I do always put this little mark in because it's easy to say, oh, wait a minute, do I color that one in? Do I color that one in? And trust me, it's easy to color in the wrong section, and it's not wrong. We just adapt. I am putting slight curves on these auras that we're putting in so that it can help give the illusion of a curve. I going? No. That was going off camera. Now they're going to get close again. And this will just color that completely in. All right. Now I am going to pull in a thicker pen. It's a Graphic 1 by Micron. I am a fan of the Micron pens. I'm also a fan, though, of the Faber-Castell pens. And the Uni. But if you're using a ballpoint pen, you can tangle with a fine point. And then make sure you have like a medium point, which is a little thicker. If that's how you are tangling. So you can see I'm only doing the top and the bottom. But even when you're inking an area, you need to make sure that you're taking your time. And if you sneeze, lift your pen. Just saying. Lisa, good morning. Cordelia, you had 300 snowflakes. Yeah, but I don't think you've ever seen those 300 snowflakes before, right? We're just getting some wins, but not bad. So I hope for those of you that are in the Podia community, or the paper manipulators, as I lovingly call it, because that's what we do, I hope you enjoyed the projects. For February, in the first one, we're just going to make a card. Yep. Make a card. We may have a little bit of an embossing folder. We may have some stencils. We're just going to make a card. Some die cutting. Yep. Just going to have fun. Make a card. And then in the second tier, where we just tangle, we are going to do some Zentangle mapping. And it's a fun technique where we're going to use our watercolors. We're going to create a design with those watercolors. And then we're going to tangle over the design. that we created. And in the third tier, yeah, I'm not quite sure yet. We're going to do a journal. That I know. But I want to do something a little different. So I'm actually seeing if it works first. Alright. We are almost done. We're coloring. Or our inking. Okay. So there we go. Marasu. I think that's what they called that a long time ago, the Zen mapping. Yes, Lisa, you did. All right. So that's Marasu. And again, I tucked it in. I didn't give it the little tiny opening that you can sometimes as well and have things explode out of it. It's usually what I do. It's kind of fun because, you know, you guys know me. That's what I do. All right, we're going to put a border around this, and I am going to stick with my black micron because I like it. And remember, even with the microns, if you don't have to have the O1, you can use the PM if you feel you put too much pressure. Use the PN. It's just a plastic nib. Again, there's no rules. It's guidance. It's guidance. This is a PN. So that's the nib on a PN. It takes pressure. Because when we first start, we will put the pressure on the pen. This is the O1. So there's the difference. Trust me, you can snap these like a twig. Yep. Done it often. Whenever I teach in person, and it's the first time somebody's doing it, it's an introduction class, there's a PN that's put in the kit. Because I don't want them to break the pen. Because then you're out of that pen. Now, do you have to tangle with an O1? No, like I said, you can stick with the PNs. There are beautiful, beautiful, everyone's a beautiful tangler, but there are very seasoned CZTs that still use the PN. And that's what they like. They like the stroke that it gives. You can use an O2, you can use an O3. You know, here's your O3. And again, that'll take a little bit more weight when it comes to the pressure. So don't be afraid to change. Now, again, these are microns. But again, I like the Faber-Castells also. I like the uni pins. But I like those also because they're archival. But you can use anything. I can't stress that enough. You can use anything. All right, let's put an aura around this. Because we can separate it. And I'm just going to take my time. It's going to be a close aura. And I'm just following the shape. So now that we've R'd that, now we're going to do it again, but we're going to come out just a little farther. And these tiles that I'm doing are not planned. Basically, I'm winging it. That's the other beauty about Zentangle. It's non-representational. There's no planning. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are things that I do plan. And we're going to put another one. But that's usually for the stamps. Or I get this idea. This is what I want this to look like. Or this is something that inspired me. If you enjoy tangling and there's only 2 tangles that you enjoy, awesome. Then just tangle with those 2. Absolutely. I have my favorites. That's perfect, Lisa. Yep. 1.6 Bic. Yep. Yep. The Pilot Precises are awesome too. Yes. Again, use what's comfortable when it comes to what you want to work with. All right, so in here, I'm going to leave that blank. I'm not quite sure what I want to do in there yet. But I do know I'm going to create a diamond or a square, depending upon how you look at it. And this is, let's see, Tangle slash fragment. No, this is not anything is possible. One stroke at a time. This is what we call Cubine. And Cubine's just going to come out in different areas. From our Marasu arc. So you can see there's different ways to map out Cubine. Cubine. But basically, you just want to start with the main center line, and then you can just draw your diamond or square however you want to hold that together, and then put the secondary square or diamond however you're orienting it, and then stay skinny at the bottom because we're making this one a little wavy as if they're exploding, and then just bring it down narrow. It does resemble the anything is possible one stroke at a time. It just doesn't have all of the auras that are set into it. And then I'm just going to put one more here. Because you guys know I like my odd numbers. And this would be number 7. All right, and we're going to add another tangle in a different format. It's called Vertigo. So far, all of these are by Zentangle Inc. And we're just going to make these pillars. So we're just going to come up. It's like Quabog or Quabog, but they're no fancy top. And we'll just be able, if we want them to come across, we can, because then we can ink it in. So we can give the illusion of Vertigo crossing in different ways. Again, envision it in the back, and then have it come back down. This can also, and it's usually done in a rice shape, where it looks like a leaf or like a pine needle. But this is like a, I'm using this like a filler. to fill in this open space that we've got going on. And then just these few Vertigos inked in is just giving that illusion of just a little more drama. Because again, this is the only drama that I like. And again, it's all depending upon how many, how few. I mean, you can even have the ones that are inked in going behind, just to give that illusion. You can also fill in with Tipple. And then we can round around, say that 10 times fast, around the Tipple as well. I do enjoy what I refer to as filler tangles, like Tipple, um, you know, like the orbs, like Fescu, because you can put a few of those coming up as well. And by simply rounding, you're giving this a different look. Well, hello and good morning, Jacques. How are you doing? I don't know, no one's commenting. Does that mean you're all tangling with me? That would be awesome. You can see there's a difference when you round around the tipple. And again, the tipple's just the orb. So if I just let that like that, You can see the difference of what that looks like. And then by simply curving in around the base of it, it kind of like cemented in there. Well, Jock, I'm always here if you have any questions about this, about Zentangle. I do have an introductory course that sits within our Podia as well. You can just take that, and that goes through the whole process, how it started, about the founders. It goes into fragments, reticulas, we do 2 tiles, all kinds of details. And you don't have to add, you know, a lot. Sometimes I can get lost with Tipple because I just think it's so fun. There's never a possibility where you say, okay, that's too much. I've seen beautiful tiles where it's nothing but Tipple, and it's just all filled in, and then there's other tangles within the Tipple. It's very cool. I think from, I'm going to add just a few more Vertigo. Why not? Just feel like we're missing. There we go. So now we've got like this, it's grass, right? It's grass. It's like a tangled tornado. And there's nothing wrong with that, Biddy. I'm doing wonderful, Jock. I'm glad you're doing good as well. Let's see here. I think I'm going to add just one more, and we're just going to come straight up. And we're going to come straight back down again. Because I need to figure out what I'm going to put in here. I want to put something in there. I don't know what it is. Sorry. I know I'm tapping. I don't mean to tap. Oh, thank you, Linda. I mean, I could do fragments. Oh, no. We're going to do doodah. It's another Zentangle tangle. It's called doodah. Now you all have zippity doodah in your head now, right? Yep. And it literally starts out like this, where you have your double aura on the top and the bottom, and then you literally come from the top, and then you stop just short of the bottom. And then the next one, you do the opposite. You come from the bottom and stop short. And you just keep doing that all along that section. You can make them as wide apart or close together as you want. And I know I keep saying that, but remember, there's just no rules. There's no rules, and there's no eraser, because there's no mistakes. No mistakes. So again, you're spinning your tile. And now I'm going to go the other way. Matter of fact, that is uncomfortable for my eye, so I'm going to turn my tile. And just keep spinning it so that these lines that you're creating are matching how your curve is going. Doodah. See how it's called doodah? You know, zippity. Get it? Okay. Just wanted to point that out. Okay. Time for shading. So this, I'm just going to stick with the graphite. The graphite #2 pencil is fine, not a mechanical pencil. Pencil. Regular #2 pencil. Pencil. Okay, or it can be a drawing pencil, whatever it is you have. This is ultimately my first choice. Don't get me wrong, I love the colors as well, but I like the earth tone colors so much more. But I do love the graphite. So to shade this, I want to continue the look, at least just looking at Marasu right now, just that little section in there. I want to continue the curve. So where the graphite's going to go And I won't go over the black where we inked because it'll get shiny. I mean, I'm okay if it does. I mean, I don't lose my mind here. But I'm just going to the top and the bottom on each side of the line. That's where we're going to add our graphite. And you can see I'm not worried about going end to end because your Q-tip or your blending stump or the tortillon is going to move it. All right, so that's how we add the graphite to that. To doodah, I add graphite to the top and the bottom. I try to stay out of the top and bottom aura, but yeah, you know what I'm going to say. Don't worry about it. And then, okay, before I add my graphite, I just want to add a little bit more, just one. Just, well, okay, maybe two. Oh, let's add a third. Okay. I don't want to add one there. There we go. Now, to this, I'm going to go right on top of the doodah again. And again, you can make this fuller, you can do less, you know, whatever you want to do. And when it comes to Cubine, I'm going to focus on one side right now of each of these lower panels. For right now. Because I want to see what that looks like. All right, here we go. So then to do the blending, I just go in a swirl and I stick to one side. Because again, I'm not here for the perfect blend. It's not so, and then I come back. But I stay to the side. Because I want to keep the integrity of that white highlight as best as I can. And now it looks like it's curved. Now, if you could absolutely color these in solid and then bring in your white chalk as well. Yep, you can do that. And then we're going to do the same thing on doodah. You can see I'm just going back and forth. Just pushing that graphite in. And then here I go back to the small circle because this will have more graphite. And I do go heavy-handed with the graphite. You don't have to go as heavy-handed as I do. And then now I'm going to come back with bigger circles the other way. And then I'm going to focus on these. So even when I shade, I do it in steps because, again, something could be crossing over. Like these are crossing over. And I'm going to look at that So like here, I want to add graphite to here and to here, just a little bit, because it's crossing over. So now it creates that illusion that it's underneath it. Same thing here. Now I still have graphite on this, so I don't have to add any more. And then here, I'm going to add graphite on the base of that square or diamond to make it look like it's flipping in. Again, when you add graphite, it's pushing it away. When you don't add graphite, it's bringing it front. Remember, we do not care about the light source. We do not worry about that. We don't want to know. We don't make sure that with all of the tangles that the light's coming in from this side. You can see here, yes, I've got this side done, but I did this one on this side. I did this one on this one. We do not worry about the light source. We just bring the tile to life when it comes to that. And yes, you will get graphite on your hands. I do use a glove that covers this and this sometimes, like especially with that large piece so that it doesn't go all over the place. All right, let's get our chop added. All right, now where can I put my chop? And yes, I tangle my chop now. I know. So it's a D and a K. Okay. We always put our chop on the front, initials. We always sign the back. We always date. I always write because my hand, and so that you can't read my handwriting. And then I just always like to list out the tangles that I used. There you go. That's our second one. We do not shade our chop. All right, so that's what we've done so far. All right. Want to do another one? I did, yes. I have, yes, Gwen, I did have those. Because you had asked me about them, and it was funny. I had just gotten them. So I like it. Lisa, when you say courses, are you asking about the courses that I have set up or the community? Which ones? Okay. All right, so let's pull in some different tangles as well. I need, where's my tile? And there's a special tile I wanted to use. Okay. Let's use, oh wait a minute, let me get, I'm sticking these on the back of my tiles so that I can list the tangles that I used, because they all should be in Tangle, yeah, tanglepatterns.com. And again, I'll link that below after we're done our live. And if not, then you'll have this video, because we'll go step by step when it comes to that. But I'll have these at least listed so that you can see that. Okay. So this is a watercolor panel that I had done. I was going to use this for Inktober and changed my mind, because that's what I do. It's just... it's just what I do. All right. So, of course, you know... So this is a new tangle. It's called Walu. Yes, Walu. And it's by Ria Matheussen. And I do know this is available on tanglepatterns.com. So I do have, now I'm actually going to do a string. So yeah, the course, like the introduction course to Zentangle, and then there's a few other Zentangles, like I think there's 4 individual ones as well, which are that mimic the first set of stamps I created. So you could actually do those. And you can watch them at any time. You can watch them at your own pace. They're always available. So yeah, you don't have to worry about UK time compared to US time. Even if you wanted to go into the tier 2, which is $4.99 US a month, that's all tangling. That's nothing but tangling. So you get you're going to get projects. We just did the whole fragment series through there, and you do get everything that's going on in tier 1 as well. So again, you don't have to worry about what's UK time, what's US time, because they're always there. You can always refer back to them. And let's say if you sign in now and we just finished the fragments, you'll be able to see all the 31 days of fragments as well, and the Inktober that we did last year in 2025. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that. The only time that we worry about time frame is if I do go live with the group and I try to get a whole group together to say, hey, how about this? How about that? And all of that. So I hope that helps, Lisa. Okay. All right. So I am going to put a string. Oh, have a good one, Jock. Enjoy your day. Yes, I will not be here next week. Cordelia, no threats to my sister. We're actually doing our retreat next weekend. I was going to say that to the end. Yes, Holly. Hello. Welcome. We tangle on the first Sunday of every month. Fat sister. She loves me. I know, and I apologize. I so apologize for last Sunday. I was going to, but it was at the last minute. I just pulled back and said, nope. Yeah. Going through the storm was not easy. All right, so I'm going to put a string here. And Lisa, you don't mess anything up. There are no mistakes. Just take your time. And again, the introductory class, Lisa, will go through the history and where all these strokes come from. And you'd be amazed. You'd be surprised you make them. I am going to put a string on this for this one. And again, it's called Walu. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Walu by Ria Matheussen. And I'm sure she's a CZT. Okay? So again, tanglepatterns.com. So string guides us, and I'm going to put 2 on here. So I'm going to start out with 1. And I'm using my graphite for this. I'm going to create a wave. All right. And then I'm going to do this the opposite way. And I'm going to do that one twice. Just to give me an idea. All right. So Walu, take some breaths. All right. This tangle is new for me too. This is the first time I'm doing this tangle. Again, I don't prepare for this live when we tangle. We just tangle. And let's see what we get. So, just take some deep breaths. You may want to sit back and watch. Just say. It's not difficult, though. I promise you, it's not difficult. All right. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start here. All right. Now this pulls in my absolute favorite tangle. And what it pulls in is, it pulls in Flux, but we don't get there yet. Okay, so this double line, we are going to create some curvy lines. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to come up, and I'm going to stop short of that first line, that first string that we did. And again, you won't see this. This string in pencil will go away. It'll go away. I promise you. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this 5 more times. That same stroke. So I'm going to do one here. And I'm going to do another one below. And now I'm going to do 2 above. All right. Stay with me. Now, I'm going to create a variation on this. I'm going to grab my thick graphite, and I'm going to do one more. And I'm going to thicken it even more. And then I'm going to come in 5 more times again. I'm not worried about these not being even. What I'm looking at as I'm doing this is this curve from that string there. All right. So we're good on that, right? Now, we're going to do this again, but this time it's going to go like this. So I'm going to grab my thick pen, and I'm going to space away. Not space out, space away. And I'm just going to thicken it. And now we're going to create our wave again. And we're just R-ing that same stroke. You can see we can come away. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is nothing more than an elongated S-curve. And now we're going to do the same thing on the top. I chose this one because 1, it had my favorite tangle in it. And 2, it gives you this ability to just get comfortable with your pen. Just get comfortable with what it's doing, how it's moving, and all of that. All right, I'm going to grab my thick liner again, and we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to come away, and we're going to go there. And then we're going to make this just a little bit thicker. Just a little bit. And now we're going to R this. And now the top. So now we have this wave, but a broken line. You know, these broken spaces going through here. So what actually comes in on this is, now for those of you that know my favorite tangle, Flux. Now Flux I found it. Flux. It's my favorite. Flux becomes this beautiful viney thing that's just awesome. Yes. And we just keep filling this in on each side. And however you want. I mean, they can be big, they can be small, you know, whatever you're looking for. But that line is going to guide us. You want to take your time around these ends because the flux is going to contain itself in there. Now, you can certainly do this as a vine effect, but I really wanted to showcase the beauty of Flux and how it just grows and expands. And in these areas where we have these openings, that's where Tipple's going to come in. And then we'll ink in those areas as well. They can cross over. And you don't have to add just Flux through this. You can add poke root, poke leaf, and then on these here that are not connecting, you don't have to connect them. You can connect them in now. When after you get your Flux in there, then you can start adding more. But you have this bend now that we're going to put into the mix. But you want it to weave in and out of this master band that you've created. Now, to me, we can never have enough Flux. So, I'll always add more. And we can have it look like it's going behind and traveling, because that's what it is doing. It's now tucking in behind this swirl that we've created. So see, now you've got that beautiful band that's coming through. And again, to me, we can never have enough Flux. So, just going to focus in on this edge. Because again, we can. All right. So now we're envisioning, okay, here it goes, here it goes. Now we're going to come out on the other side. And again, don't worry about this line that you're saying. It's going to go away. It's going to go away. So now I'm going to give the illusion that she's peeking out just by doing the tops. And then now we'll start getting bigger. And remember, you want to follow that curve or create that curve. Flux was the first tangle that I gravitated to when it came to when I first started my journey with Zentangle. She's just, for me, I think she is just absolutely captivating. And very mystical. I believe that she's strong. And definitely has a mind of her own. And now that I know I've passed, now I can take those lines and bring them in because I know I'm not going to add any more of Flux to it. But I don't do that until I know I've added what I've wanted. And I'm not going to add any more into that mix. The the string does help, but I find once you get comfortable with this, and you will, you'll break out of it because now I'm about to break off the string. And kind of change it up a little bit. But it's nothing dramatic. So don't sit there and say, "Oh no, what is she doing?" No, she's not. It's all good. And again, I can have Flux go behind. As I keep drawing or tangling Flux, my strokes tend to get bigger and bigger. and that just means I'm getting comfortable with it. And that's something that I still look at when it comes to tangling, to say, okay, keep it proportional, keep it together, keep it going. And it's best to do, and I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to have some flux coming out so that it can start this trail again. And again, we'll have it trail off. So that's something that, yeah, I do struggle with that. And I think that's why I like the larger tiles. And again, you can tangle on any size that you would want. But I know as I start getting comfortable, it really starts, flaring out there. Um, but honestly, I am getting, better with that. Again, there's things that we always look at that will be challenges or anything like that. Practice is key. Very much so. All right, now I'm just going to flip it this way because I want to see. I'm going to add the illusion that it's coming off, and we're just going to add, to me, Tipple is the perfect matchup and pair to Flux. So I'm just going to add a few. I also think Fescu is a beautiful pairing for that. Now, I'm not going to put too many in here unless I have an opening as we cross out. But I can put them on the outside. And then the same thing here. And then just making sure that these lines are now connected. And like here, I can make this thick line really connect in. I can even it out along the flux that we have going on in here. Now it's just, we're adding our embellishments, meaning the tipple. We'll add some fescues sprawling out, maybe some mookas. But I thought this one was really cool, and I'm glad I did it. I hope you'll give it a try. It's just breathe. And notice you're hardly seeing the lines that are coming through. All right. So again, we can put let's put our mookas in first, because, we gotta do a tile with a mooka, right? And they're gonna come out from the flux. I have got the sun right in my eyes where I'm sitting. Not fun. Just saying. Just saying. And because I have this white border, I'm using that. I'm adding that into the image, thinking, okay, this has got to go behind. So now that we have our Flux, let's add some Fescus, have some fun, just having them dip, letting them do their crazy things that they do. Sometimes they can loop. And now we'll just ink those in. I'm going to grab my bigger pen to ink those in. Because that will just let it go quicker. Now you can also have the fescues come from each other. They don't have to be that single thing. I think I'm out of camera right now. There we go. And what I mean by that is it can come off here, and you can have another one that comes off it. You know, they always don't have to be that single. So let's put one here. And then this will just fill the rest of the piece up. And that's all I'm doing now is just saying, okay, what's not filled. Making sure it just looks balanced before we add our shading. Now, I'm still going to stick with just the graphite, and I am going to pull in, I am going to add weight to the Mookas, because I think that helps them to stand out. And this piece of paper that I'm tangling on is Canson XL. You see? You can tangle on anything. All right. I'm going to start with the graphite. So let's start here. And I'm going to add just to the base of each of the Flux. And then just along this here and along this side here, where the flux is going under and coming out. And again, I'm just adding a little bit to the base. You don't need that much. And then along here. And along there. Now, I'm also going to add a squiggle, it's a technical term, here, where this is going underneath. And then I'm going to do that up here as well. And you'll see why. And then I'm also going to add an outline around when it comes to this bar where the flux is going over it. And I am going to go heavy-handed on that. All right, so let's map this out. And I think I'm going to need my glove on this one. So these are just gloves that I have. I got them from Amazon. And what it does is it just covers this part here so that I'm not completely smearing across, because when I go heavy-handed, I go heavy-handed. So this is just sitting here, and it's really not going to move so much. You can also just use a piece of paper and keep that under your hand as well. And then, or you can use a piece of glassine. I just have these because I've had them. And yeah, I found them. All right, so I want to get the graphite done first. Yes. All right, so we're going to take care of all of this. And again, I'm following the way that the flux is going. And just coming from the bottom of it and going straight up the line. With the extra, I'm going to hit the bottom of each of the Mookas. And then I'm going to blend and keep pulling it out, just going back and forth where they're going over this band. All right, I'm going to turn this and I'm going to do the same thing here. So with that extra graphite, I'm just coming up each layer and just going back and forth until I know, okay, there's nothing else that's left, because I really want that to be defined. So I went very heavy on the graphite. All right, we're going to continue going up. Again, same thing with the base of the Mooka, with what's on my blending stump already, and then we're just going to go back and forth from the flux line. And then I'm going to turn this again and do the same thing. All right. And then our last pieces. Let's take care of that one. All right. So what we have left are these pieces here. So I'm going to blend away from that line. So here's my line. I want to go that way. I don't want to go back and forth. So circles just going along that line and coming away from it. And then I'm going to turn it and do the same thing to the other side. What this is giving, this illusion, is a bump in the ribbon that the flux is going under. That's what that's representing or giving us. So you want this harsh side here, and you want it blended out on the other side. And then we'll do that here. So now it just looks like it's enveloping over because the flux is going up underneath. Oh, really? You want this one to be a stamp? Let's see. I'm just catching up on it. Did you do your background with granular? Yes. Yes. Let's see. All right. I think I got that. Okay, so I'll put a mark, possible stamp. I don't know if it'll make this release or the next release, but just know I do put marks on these. Okay. So now we've got our graphite in place. Now this piece will really start popping when we add the white, because the white will go everywhere. So here I'm going to put the white here. Now this is going to react differently than what it did on this tile. This tile just sucks up the white chalk. It's magnificent. Not that this won't, just got to work at it just a little bit. We are going to put white on the tips of all of our flux. And again, it doesn't have to be extreme. You know, just this little curve that we're putting along the top. I continuously turn this to get that point. I'm not going to add it to these because they're going under. Okay, they're going under the ribbon. I'm going to put more there. Add that. Now they're coming up, but what I also am going to do is I'm going to go back and forth here and here. And then here. And narrow it down. All right. Now, we're going to go to the tops of these. Go there, and go there, here. All right, and now we're going to go across this. And then here. And then on top of these. All right. Now for this, I'll use that. I'll use that. Okay, we're just, I kind of go all over now when it comes to blending out the white because it does react so differently to this. So like here, I'm just going to use my finger because that will blend out with your finger. I forgot a towel for my finger. Oh, that's what sweatpants are for. And then, and then I'm just going to lightly go over what I put on the tops of each of the Flux. I'm not blending crazily in. I want it to sit on that Flux. I want to see the highlight there. And then, right down the center of this, you just put a little bit, and just right down the center of this, just a little bit. And this we want to blend that out, get that white throughout that section. And there you go. All right, so you can see how it's engulfed underneath. All right, how it looks like that this is just all over the place. I think if I did do this one into a stamp, I would change this band, still have its width, absolutely. But I think I would keep this open and put another tangle through there. So if you do see this in a stamp, that's how I would do it. I mean, I like that. I love the way she designed it. Walu was a lot of fun and different because you kept these breaks. And you can see after you go through it the first time, okay, you know what? I want to keep that break wider because I want to be able to add more flux. But this, the way that they're coming out underneath, looks like that they're entwined into it. So I do like that. You can tell more comfortable here than where I started. So again, you start thinking as you go when it comes to the piece. Right? Right. Okay. Let's add our chop. Yeah, I always try to find a spot for my chop. Just saying. Okay. Let's put it here. All right, so now this was Walu. Ria Matheussen. We also had Flux and Tipple. Mooka. Fescu. Love my Fescu. It's just it's always there. Always there. We sign it. Okay. Possible stamp. It's a way to journal what you've just done. That's what I use the back for. It's a way to journal all of that. But I do like that. All right. So now we did that one. Let's see, where are we at? All right, we can do one more if you want. Just one more, then I do have to go. Yes, I promise you, Holly, that was the first time that I did Walu. Because it really, it's the only way to just jump right in. Well, hello, Teresa. Hello. How are you doing? I hope everything is well. So yeah, absolutely loved it. Okay, let's work on a square. No, let's work on another Zendala. I love my Zendalas. Love, love, love. And let's have fun with, I think it's called, let me confirm this. I always call this the wrong thing. It's kind of funny. Well, okay. At least I think it's kind of funny. It's a Zentangle. Tangle. Okay. Dingsplatz. How can you not love a tangle that's called Dingsplatz? Wrong one. Dingsplatz. Okay. Needed to get a drink. So Dingsplatz is fun. Okay, I'm just going to say it. Dingsplatz is very fun. It's also a reticula that's great for fragments. You learn all of this in the introduction to Zentangle. But Dingsplatz, it's a lot of loops, and you do it all in one stroke. So you ready? Okay, hang on. My cat, I think, is about to jump up. Yeah, no, don't do that. Not now. He would wipe out this whole table. So we start like this, and we do a loop up, and we come around, and we do another, and we come down, and we do another, and we do this, and oh, we're gonna end. Think of when you were a kid, and I'm going to age myself, a spirograph. You know, where you had it and you put the pen in it and you just kept on doing this. Now, okay, the machine was the mechanics was doing it for you, but you get to do that. Right? Dingsplatz. Okay. So, first, now we're just going to have fun and we're going to embellish it. That's a tangle. Yep. That's a tangle. So now we're going to have fun. All right, so I'm going to aura the inside. And then I'm going to add lines from each of the points, from the inside to the outside. That's called coffering. Makes it look like a gem. At least for me. But in here, I'm going to pick a point. I'm going to put an orb in. And then I'm going to come out from that orb and I'm going to weight the bottom of this line. And I'm just going to keep coming out and doing that. It doesn't always have to be a tangle. Just by adding lines and adding weight to them is a way to add to your art. And again, you're just adding weight by almost rounding, if that helps, if that makes sense. You can add weight just by thickening your line. There's all kinds of different ways that you can do this. Yeah, I'm going to squeeze one more in there. All right, so that's our center. I'm thinking I'm going to add Tangle by Stephanie Jennifer. She's one of the wonderful people that put together the Inktober. And this is called Delwhy. I think that's how you say it. All right. And we're going to put that in here. Pretty much. For the most part. Let's give it a shot. So it's a rice shape. So I'm going to use this side. And then it's another rice shape. Again, I'm going to use that side. And then we put one here. Like that. And then from here, I'm going to go up and I'm going to come back down. So that's what we're going to create in each of these. And they're all going to be different because our loops are different. So we just adapt. So rice shape, and then we have another one. And then we come up, and then we come back down. Now, I do like to retrace the lines as I'm putting this in there. And something to remember. So now this is a 4.5 inch diameter circle that we're working on here. Your tile, because that's what we're working on tile, can be any size that you want it to be. All right. Up and down. All right, so just keep that in mind. You can make, I mean, let's face it, we've got watercolor paper, whatever paper that you want to use when it comes to this. Look at the size of card that you create. I mean, think about what some of these would look like on the front of a card. They would look absolutely magnificent. And you could create that card in such a way that it's a pocket that sits in the front, you know, like a belly band, and this piece is sitting there so that your recipient can take it out and enjoy it and put it, you know, on a mantle or get it framed. So keep that in mind. We can do that. And then I think here I'm going to round these. Now we just get to have some fun. And I'm going to arc this out. And I think I'm going to make these look like a flux. Retrace. So Dingsplatz gives the best of all worlds. It's a tangle where you can add reticulas into its spaces. Or whether you just want to add lines or fillers, whatever you want to do. And by retracing these areas, it's actually adding weight. And our last one. It's also cute. It looks like an upside down heart. Just saying. All right, now I'm going to aura this piece. Auraine is a wonderful technique because it separates, and at the same time that it separates, it also adds. And it adds because it can give you yet another space in which you can tangle in, add more embellishments, more highlights. Again, just like we can tangle on anything, we can put a tangle anywhere. Like I said, hubby gets very nervous that I'm going to start tangling the walls one day. I think it would look cool. All right. Now again, you can leave it just like this. We can continue to add to it. Let's see. There's something else I thought I was looking for. But I think I'm going to let that be like that. And I'm going to add a string. I just don't know where I want to add it. Yeah, okay, I'm going to add it here. Or do I want to do that? Yeah. All right, so I'm going to add string here, 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 and then we'll add another one here, here. There we go. All right, this tangle is called Dibbon. And it is by Susan. I'm going to pronounce it wrong. Yeo. And she too is a CZT. Dibbon. All right. You start out with graphite. Okay. And then along these two lines, you're going to add half moons like we do in Crescent Moon. Now this, again, drawing behind is very fun, and it's a major part when it comes to tangling. So that's why I do it a lot. So that you can see that yes, it can be done. And again, you just envision, and by continuously trying to draw behind, it'll help you say, okay, this is what it's doing behind here. This is what this is doing here. Again, you've just got to have, and we'll have that come out there. It strengthens confidence in that technique. We're going to flip it and we're going to do the same thing, but they're going to be even with each other. All right, so this one here is going to go like that because we're on the curve. We're going to come up and go like that. Come straight up. Add that. Straight up. And we'll just have a little piece of that coming there. Straight up. It's actually behind. Straight up. So by continuously doing that, it just helps you to say, okay, this is where my pen goes down. This is where my pen goes up. Because again, just like with anything, you want to keep practicing. I'm going to let that go right there. All right. Now that you have those, we're going to create these arcs over them. I'm going to do that. And again, you go in groups of 2. And then this one's going to go this way. This one's going to go that way. So you can see we're just really drawing behind when it comes to this. And this. And this one, I'm going to do this. I'm going to flip this over. And we're going to do the same thing. And then this one here. So we're just going to have that gap, which is absolutely fine. And then that. So now you can see we've got these orbs that are kind of getting formed. And then this is going to be reminiscent of Huggins, where we connect the centers. Only the centers. Just like that. And then, now we've created this ribbon. So outside, you want to connect these areas. Not here. You want to connect the ribbons when you don't see them. So now you've got that ribbon that's going through. And now that just looks like it's completely behind. All right, so let's shade this. I'm going to go in the center. Now, you can certainly add more. I mean, you can add Tipple. I mean, again, you can just keep having fun with those fillers. And I'm also going to put a thin line right on the outside so that this looks like it's like a vortex or a hole. Here, I'm going to come from the bottom, and then here, 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 and there. And I'm really surprised. I'm actually going light with the graphite. But again, you can go as heavy or as light as what you want. I'm going to go on either side of these lines that we put here, just squiggling across them. I'm going to add graphite here, there, 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 and there. So we have that. We're going to pull from each of these lines. Just a little bit. Now, what's great is we are using a gray Zendala. So we are going to be able to use our white chalk. So we can add our highlights if we want. While I'm here, I'm going to take care of this. Take care of that. And there you go. And I just used my finger over these areas where we had our string. Because when you do it lightly, if you just take your finger over it, it just goes away. So again, it just absolutely will remove itself from that. All right. So you saw how that came together? It's really cool. So you need an even number when it comes to these baubles. So it's a play on Lace and Huggins by Zentangle. Yes, Gwen, absolutely. Maria, one of the founders, she loves to aura. I do too. I like to aura. It does two things. One, it pulls out and highlights this Dingsplatz. And two, while I'm doing that, I'm thinking about what I'm going to do next. So it gives you time. All right, let me get my chop in here. All right, we sign, we date. And we did Dibbon, Delwhy, Dingsplatz, and weighted line. what that is. Okay. Now, does anybody have any questions or anything like that? Okay, Max just said no. You heard that? That was Max. All right, but this is what we did. I'll put that one there because that one's kind of big, but I wanted to make sure that I hope I didn't go off camera too much. So I apologize. So we have that. And then we did that. And we did this. This was actually inspired from Project Pack 28. And that's something that we'll be doing in the Tier 2 as well, is exploring current past project packs that Zentangle releases. Now, like I said, after we go, after we're done, which will be in a couple minutes here, I'll list the tangles that I'll use. So I'll say, you know, beige tile, which will be this one, and I'll list the tangles that we used. I'll say white circle, Zendala, that's this one, gray. Oh, oh, oh my. Let's just add our white. Just saying. Oh my. Because when you have a gray tile or a tan, you add the white chalk. Let's do that. Let's do that. So that's, I will do that. I'll make sure that they're listed. And again, you should be able to find, you know, the physical step outs and everything else on tanglepatterns.com, and I'll have that listed as well. Now I'll just put my finger through that. There we go. Okay, now I feel better. So I'll say, you know, tan tile, white circles, Zendala, gray circles, Zendala, and again, I'll have all of those. And then long ribbon will be this one. And I'll have what those tangles were that we used. And again, tanglepatterns.com will be listed so that you can see those step outs and see them for yourself. And again, I may change something because we all do that. Everybody tangles differently, but you'll be able to see that step out to do that. Like I said, you know, we've got our Podia community as well, starting free all the way up to $9.99. Tier 2 is nothing but tangling. So there's projects. We're going to look at the project packs that Zentangle releases. And like I said, in my shop, I will soon have Zentangle tiles, whether it's the Phi, the original square, the Opus, Opus, the Zendalas, the triangles, which are the 3Zs. There's so many different, and they will be listed in there in small packs, large packs, and also, you know, microns, all that stuff. That's soon to be coming into the shop and available for you when it comes to that. But as always, if you have any questions, please just reach out and I will get back to you as so quickly as I can. By all means, continue to stay safe and healthy, especially now. So many affected. So thoughts, prayers always going out. Gratitude, love always growing out as well. I can't thank you all enough for being here, being part of the community, and just allowing me to be part of your creative journey. And again, these will look beautiful on card fronts. So this isn't just another means to decorate your cards. All right? Take care, guys. I will see you not next Sunday. I know. First of all, it's Super Bowl, but I will be with my sister for the weekend. But I will see you the following Sunday, or I am scheduled to see you. I think that's the 15th, the 16th, where I will see you all. Okay? So enjoy, have fun, and I'll talk to you all soon. Till then, take care. Bye.